Hi students, welcome to lesson number 4 on relationship of sociology with other social sciences. Now we'll talk about the introduction part. Sociology is one of a group of social sciences which also includes economics, anthropology, political science and history. Sociology as a social science attempts to study social life as a whole. But for the understanding of social life as a whole, sociology requires the help of other social sciences which studies a particular aspect of society. Economics studies the economic aspects, whereas political science studies political aspects. Hence, it is obvious that other social sciences are closely related to sociology. Sociology is considered as the mother of all social sciences. Besides, sociology synthesizes other social sciences. Hence, there exists a very close and intimate relationship between sociology and other social sciences. The divisions among the various social sciences are not clear and all share a certain range of common interest, concepts and methods. It is therefore very important to understand that the distinctions of the disciplines are to some extent arbitrary and should not be seen in a constrained fashion. To differentiate the social sciences would be to exaggerate the differences and gloss over the similarities. Furthermore, feminist theories have also shown the greater need of interdisciplinary approach. For instance, how would a political scientist or economist study gender roles and their implication for politics or the economy without sociology of the family or gender division of labor? Now, we'll discuss about the objectives. This chapter will help you to understand the relationship of sociology with social sciences like history, economics, political science, psychology, philosophy, anthropology and biology. It also helps to examine the difference between sociology and other social sciences. For a specific understanding of the relationship between sociology and other social sciences, we have to discuss them individually, which are discussed here. First, we will discuss about sociology and history. Sociology without history is rootless and history without sociology is fruitless. So, historians almost as rule study the past and sociologists are more interested in the contemporary or recent past. Historians earlier were content to delineate the actual events to establish how things actually happen, while in sociology the focus was to establish causal relationship. History studies concrete details, but the sociologists are more likely to abstract from concrete reality, categorize and generalize. Historians today are equally involved in doing sociological methods and concepts in their analysis. Social history, accordingly, sociology has social relationships with history because present society bears symbols of past. Now, the relationship between the two is so close and intimate that scholars like 𝗬𝗏𝗏 have refused to acknowledge sociology as a science distinct from history. Sociology is the study of systems of social action and their interrelations. It is a science of social groups and social institutions. History studies the important past events and incidents. It records man's past life and life of societies in a systematic and chronological order. It also tries to find out the cause of past events. It also studies the past political, social and economic events of the world. It not only studies the past, but also establishes relationship with present and future. That is why it is said that history is the microscope of the past, the horoscope of the present and the telescope of the future. However, both the sciences are closely interrelated and interdependent on each other. Both study the same human society. Their mutual dependence led 𝗳𝗏𝗏 to remark that history is past sociology and sociology is present history. Both takes help from each other. At the same time, one depends on the other for his own comprehension. History helps and enriches sociology. History is the storehouse of knowledge from which sociology gained a lot. History provides materials sociologists use. History is a record of past social matters, social customs and information about different stages of the society. Sociology uses this information. Books written by historians like 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗧 are of great use for sociologists. To know the impact of a particular past event, sociology depends on history. Similarly, sociology also provides help to history and enriches it. A historian greatly benefited from the researches conducted by sociologists. Historians now study caste, class and family by using sociological data. Sociology provides a background for the study of history. Now, history is being studied from sociological angle. Here, every historical event has a social cause or social background. To understand that historical event, history needs the help from sociology, and sociology helps history in this respect. Sociology provides facts on which historians rely on. Thus, history and sociology are mutually dependent on each other. History is now being studied from sociological angle, and sociology also is now studied from historical point of view. Historical sociology now became a new branch of sociology which depends on history. Similarly, sociological history is another specialized subject which is based on both the sciences. In spite of those similarities, the differences remains. History is primarily concerned with the past and essentially tries to account for change over time, while the main focus of sociology continues to be search for recruitment, patterns, and build generalizations. Now, we discuss about the differences between sociology and history. Sociology is a science of society and is concerned with the present society, but history deals with the past events and studies the past society. Sociology is a modern or a new subject, whereas history is an older social science. Sociology is abstract, whereas history is concrete in nature. The scope of sociology is very wide, whereas the scope of history is limited. Sociology includes history within its scope. Sociology is an analytical science, whereas history is a descriptive science. Attitude of sociology and history differ from each other. Sociology studies a particular event as a social phenomena, whereas history studies a particular event in its entirety. Sociology is general science, whereas history is a special science. However, it is becoming extensively clear that historiography and sociology cannot be radically separated. They deal with the subject matter, namely men living in societies, sometimes from the same point of view, and the trend indicates that two shall continue to borrow from each other extensively. Now, we will discuss about the relationship of sociology and economics. The fact that society is influenced by economic factors, while economic processes are largely determined by the social environments, clearly proves that the relationship between sociology and economics is very close, intimate, and personal. There exists close relationship between these two because economic relationships bear a close relation to social activities and relationship. Social relationships are also affected by economic relationships. Economic activities to a great extent are social activities. It is concerned with the association of human beings. Sociology is a study of human interaction and interrelations, their conditions and consequences, but economics deals with economic activities of man. It is a science of wealth and choice. According to Professor Robbins, economics is a social science which studies human behavior in relation to its unlimited ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. It is concerned with the activities of man such as production, consumption, distribution, and exchange. It also studies the structure and function of different economic organizations like banks, markets, etc. It is concerned with the material needs of men as well as his material welfare. However, there exists a great deal of interrelationship between these two social sciences. Both are interdependent and interrelated with each other. Because of this interrelationship, Thomas opines that economics is, in fact, but one branch of sociology. Similarly, Silverman opines economics is regarded as an offshoot of sociology which studies the general principles of all social relations. For its own comprehensions, economics takes the help of sociology and depends on it. Economics is a part of sociology, hence, without the help from sociology, economics can't understand itself completely. Economics is concerned with material welfare of men, which is common welfare. Economic welfare is a part of social welfare. For the solution of different economic problems such as inflation, poverty, unemployment, etc., economics takes the help of sociology and considers the social events of that particular time. At the same time, society controls the economic activities of man. Economics is greatly benefited by the research conducted by sociologists like Karl Marx, Max Weber, and Wilfrid Pareto. Some economists also consider economic change as an aspect of social change. Economics draws its generalization basing on the data provided by sociology. Thus, economics cannot go far or develop without the help of sociology. Similarly, sociology also takes the help from economics. Economics greatly enriches sociological knowledge. An economic factor greatly influences each and every aspect of social life. Economics is a part of sociology, hence, without the help of economics, we can't understand sociology properly. Knowledge and research in the field of economics greatly contributes to sociology. Each and every social problem has an economic cause. For the solution of social problems like dowry, suicide, etc., sociologists take the help from economics. Marx opines, economic relation constitutes the foundation of society. Economic factors play a very important role in every aspect of our social life. That is why sociology is concerned with economic institutions. For this reason, sociologists like Spencer, Weber, Durkheim, and others have taken the help from economics in their analysis of social relationship. Thus, both sociology and economics are very closely related with each other. There are some problems which are being studied by both sociologists and economists. Economic changes result in social change and vice versa. However, in spite of the above closeness, interrelationships and interdependence, both the sciences have certain differences which are described here. The difference between sociology and economics. Sociology is a science of society and social relationship, whereas economics is a science of wealth and choice. Sociology is a much younger science which has very recent origin, whereas economics is comparatively an older science. Sociology is an abstract science, whereas economics is concrete in nature. Sociology is a general social science, where economics is a special social science. The scope of sociology is very wide, whereas scope of economics is very limited. Sociology is concerned with the social activities of man, whereas economics is concerned with the economic activities of man. Society is studied as a unit of study in sociology, whereas man is taken as a unit of study in economics. Both sociology and economics differ from each other in respect of the methods and techniques they use for their study. However, attempts have been made to link the two disciplines with each other by various thinkers like Marxists, while explaining superstructure consisting of various institutions in the context of economic substructure, where economic behavior of man is viewed as a key to understand social behavior of man. It is also said by any of the sociologists that economic cannot be an entirely autonomous science and has its relation with other social sciences. Now, we will discuss about the relationship of sociology and political science. As in the case of economics, there is an increased interaction of methods and approaches between sociology and politics. According to 𝗳𝗬𝗂, political science and sociology are two facets or aspects of the same figure. Political science is the science of state and government. It studies power, political processes, political system, types of government, and international relations. It deals with social groups organized under the sovereign of the state. It studies the political activities of man. It only studies the organized society. However, their interrelationship and interdependence can be known from interdependence and mutual relationship. Sociology depends on political science. In the words of Maurice Ginsburg, historically sociology has its main roots in politics and philosophy of history. Sociology greatly benefited by the books written by political scientists like Plato, Aristotle, and Kautilya, such as the Republic, the Politics, and Arthashastra respectively. Each and every problem has a political cause. Political science is a part of sociology. Hence, sociology depends on political science to comprehend itself. To understand different political events, sociology takes the help from political science. Sociology, to draw its conclusions, depends on political science. Any change in the political system or nature of power structure brings changes in society. Hence, sociology takes the help of political science to understand the changes in society. Hence, both are interdependent. Similarly, political science also depends on sociology. Political science is a part of sociology. To understand the part, it is necessary to understand the whole. Almost all political problems have a social cause, and for the solution of these political problems, political science takes the help of sociology. State frames its rules, regulations, and laws on the basis of social customs, traditions, and values. Without sociological background, the study of political science will be incomplete. Political scientists largely benefited by the researches and research methods of the sociologist. Some consider political science as a branch of sociology. State is considered as a social group, hence is a subject of sociology. Besides, there are some common topics which are both studied by the subjects. These topics are war, propaganda, authority, communal roots, and law. With the help of both political science and sociology, a new subject comes into existence which is known as political sociology. Some political events like war are also significant social events. Thus, both social science and sociology contribute to each other. But in spite of the interrelationship and interdependence, both the sciences differ from each other in the following way. Now, the difference between sociology and political science. Sociology is the science of society and social relationship, whereas political science is the science of state and government. The scope of sociology is very wide, but scope of political science is limited. Sociology is a general science, but political science is a special science. Sociology studied organized, unorganized, and disorganized society, whereas political science studies only politically organized society. Sociology studies the social activities of man, whereas political science studies political activities of man. Sociology is a new or young science, but political science is an older science. Sociology studies man as a social animal, whereas political science studies man as a political animal. Sociology studies both formal and informal relations, whereas political science studies only formal relations. Sociology analyzes both conscious and unconscious activities of man, whereas political science analyzes only conscious activities of man. Sociology deals with all forms of association, whereas political science deals with only one form of association named state. However, political institutions and social behavior are closely linked with the economic system and social classes. Now, we will discuss the relationship of sociology and psychology. Sociology is a science of social phenomena and social relationship. It is a science of social group and social institution. It is a science of collective behavior. It studies human behavior in groups, but psychology is a science of mind or mental processes. It is a science of human behavior. It analyzes attitudes, emotions, perception, process of learning, values of individual, and process of personality formation in society. In the words of 𝗧𝗏, psychology is a positive science of human experience and behavior, but both the sciences are closely related to each other, which can be known from the following. Sociology receives help from psychology. Psychology is a part of sociology, hence, without the help from psychology, sociology can't understand itself fully and properly. There are many psychologists like Freud, McDougall, and others who have enriched sociology in many respects. They opine that the whole social life could be reduced finally to psychological forces. Each and every social problems and social phenomena must have a psychological basis, for the solution of which sociology requires the help from psychology. A new branch of knowledge has developed with the combination of sociology and psychology, which is known as social psychology. Similarly, psychology depends on sociology to comprehend itself fully. Psychology also requires help from sociology in many cases, as human mind and personality has been influenced by social environment, culture, customs, and traditions. Hence, psychology takes the help from sociology to understand this. To understand human nature and behavior properly, psychology depends on sociology. There are many psychological problems which must have a social cost. Psychology requires the help from sociology to understand these social problems. Our research in sociology richly contributes to psychology. Contributions on theories of many sociologists also are of great help to psychologists. Thus, sociology and psychology are mutually dependent on each other. One cannot comprehend itself without the help from others, because besides, there are some common area of study such as social disorganization, public opinion, etc., which are being studied by both sociologists and psychologists. Social psychology, a branch of psychology, is developed with the combination of the two. In the words of Kretsch and Crutchfield, social psychology is the science of behavior of the individuals in society. Social psychology has to depend on sociology to understand properly human nature and behavior, as it is sociology which provides the necessary material regarding the structure, organization, and culture of societies to which individuals belong. Social life cannot therefore be studied exclusively with the methods of the psychologist. The fact of mutual dependence of both psychology and sociology should not be interpreted to mean that one is either identical with or the branch of the other. As a matter of fact, there are important points of dissimilarities between these two related subjects. Now we will discuss the difference between sociology and psychology. Sociology is the science of society, but psychology is the science of mind. Scope of sociology is wide, whereas scope of psychology is limited. Society is a unit of study in sociology and individual is a unit of study in psychology. Sociology studies social processes, whereas psychology studies mental processes. Sociology studies and analyzes human behavior from sociological angle, whereas psychology studies and analyzes human behavior from psychological angle. According to Baltimore, in almost every field of inquiry, it can be shown that psychology and sociology continue for the most part and two separate universes of study. However, some attempts have been made to bring them together in most of the valuable works of Goethe and Mills. According to them, the study of social psychology is an interplay between individual character and social structure, and it can be approached either from the side of sociology or from the side of psychology. They have even suggested the concept of role to bridge the gap between the two sciences. Social role represents a meeting point of the individual organism and the social structure and is used as the central concept and social structure in the same terms. Now, we will discuss about the relationship between sociology and anthropology. Anthropologists like 𝗪𝗏𝗺𝗵 consider sociology and anthropology as twin sisters. The term sociology has been derived from the Latin word socius, means society, companion or association, and the Greek word logos means study or science. Hence, sociology is concerned with the association of human beings. It is a science that deals with social groups. Similarly, the term anthropology is derived from two Greek words, anthropos meaning man and logos meaning study or science. It is a scientific study of man in all its dimensions, both biological and socio-cultural. The branch of anthropology that studies the biological aspect of humankind is called physical or biological anthropology, while the study of social and cultural aspect is known as social anthropology or cultural anthropology. The third branch of anthropology is study of language in a comparative perspective. It is known as linguistic anthropology or anthropological linguistic. The branch of anthropology that studies the prehistoric past of mankind before writing began is called archaeological anthropology or prehistoric archaeology. Of the four branches of anthropology, sociology is the most closely related to social anthropology. Sociology and anthropology are mutually related to each other. Sociology studies society, whereas anthropology studies man. But as man and society are mutually interrelated, hence it is very difficult to distinguish two. Anthropology contributes to the growth of sociology. Without the help of anthropology, the study of sociology is incomplete. Anthropology provides knowledge about ancient societies. To have a comprehensive understanding of present society, sociology takes the help of anthropology. Contributions of many anthropologists like Radcliffe Brown, Herbert, Mead enriches sociological knowledges. The origin of family, marriage, religion, etc. can be better understood through anthropological knowledge. The concepts like cultural area, cultural traits and cultural lag, etc. sociology accepts from anthropology. Sociology accepts the anthropological conclusion that racial superiority is not responsible for mental development. Thus, sociology is greatly benefited by anthropological studies. Similarly, sociology contributes richly towards the growth of anthropology. Anthropology accepts many concepts of sociology. Research and contribution of many sociologists like Emil Durkheim, Herbert Spencer is of great help to anthropology. Anthropology is greatly benefited by the sociological researchers. Ideas and conclusions of sociology contribute to the research in anthropology. There exists a great deal of relationship between sociology and anthropology. Both study human society and both are concerned with all kinds of social groups like families, friends, tribes, etc. Many of the ideas and concepts are used in both the discipline. Hence, both are interrelated and interdependent. But in spite of the interrelationship, both differ from each other. Now, we will discuss about the difference between sociology and anthropology. Sociology is a science of society, whereas anthropology is a science of man and his behavior. The scope of sociology is very wide, whereas scope of anthropology is very limited, because anthropology is a part of sociology. Sociology studies society as a whole, whereas anthropology studies man as a part of society. Sociology studies civilizations, which are vast and dynamic. On the other hand, anthropology studies cultures, which are small and static. Sociology studies modern, civilized and complex societies, whereas anthropology studies ancient and non-literate societies. Sociology is concerned with social planning, whereas anthropology is not concerned with social planning. On the basis of social planning, sociology makes suggestions for future, but anthropology do not make any suggestions for future. In the words of 𝗧𝗏, the sociological attitude has tended towards the practical and present, the anthropological towards pure understanding of the past. Lastly, sociology is concerned with both social philosophy and social planning, whereas anthropology is not concerned with social planning. It does not make any suggestion for the future. Now, we will discuss the relationship of sociology and philosophy. Modern philosophy and sociology came into existence during one time period to explain the social crisis of Europe in the 19th century. Sociology aimed to begin with to provide a social doctrine that would guide social policy. This aim has now been abandoned. Even then, some links exist between sociology and philosophy. First, there is a philosophy of sociology in the same sense as a philosophy of science, that is, an examination of the methods, concepts and arguments used in sociology. Secondly, there is a close relationship between sociology and moral and social philosophy. The subject matter of sociology is human social behavior as guided by values. Moral and social philosophy studies values, and the sociologists study values and human valuations as facts. On occasion, the sociologist is made to distinguish between fact and value. It is only by some training that social philosophy becomes comprehended to distinguish between fact and value. Thirdly, it can be said that the study of sociology leads to philosophical quest. Durkheim thought that sociology has to necessarily contribute to a renewal of philosophical questions. This made him indulge in some epistemological discussion, a branch of philosophy. Karl Mannheim argued that sociology of knowledge had implications for philosophy. Both of them thought that sociology can make a direct contribution to philosophy, but this is an incorrect approach. Philosophy is the basis of sociology of knowledge, not vice versa. It can also be said that while sociology leads on to philosophical reflection, much of it also begins there. Sociological research coordinated in philosophical world views and social doctrines. The stimulating character of early Marxism in social research was to a great extent due to the fact that Marxism was not only a sociological theory but also a philosophical base, which was helpful for social research. In brief, although each social science, including philosophy, has its own specific area of study, there is a growing collaboration and faster fertilization among them. Now, we will discuss about the relationship of sociology and geography. Since ancient times, it is understood that geography has a great impact on human society. The influence of geographical conditions on human society are predominant. We also found that there is a close relationship between physical condition and social phenomena. According to MacIver, geographic environment consists of those conditions that nature provides for man. It includes the earth's surface with all its physical features and natural resources, the distribution of land and water, mountain and plains, minerals, plants and animals, the climate and all the cosmic forces, gravitational, electric, radiational, that play upon the earth and affect the life of man. There is a correspondence between physical condition and modes of living. Example, inhabitants of tropical region exhibit characteristics differences from those of temperate or of Arctic regions. The seafarer is typically distinct from the islanders. The relationship between man's physical environment and his social life has led to a geographical school of sociology. One of the pioneers of modern school geography was a Frenchman, 𝗓𝗡, who in his important study of European workers had developed the thesis that locality determines work and thus has a great influence on the economic organization of the family and these institutions of the people. The Regional School of American Sociology, under the leadership of Howard W. Odum and his colleagues, has been seeking the interaction between man's physical environment and man's social life. The writers of this school have contributed tremendously to our knowledge of the role of geography in man's development. They have made us aware of the interplay between climate and topography and the various aspects of the physical environment on the one side, political and economic, technological and cultural phenomena on the other. There is no need to place much emphasis on geographical factors determining the social life in a particular region. It is not proved that similar environments should produce similar culture. Different occupations are being followed by different people in the same regional setting. The geographical environments alone never explain the rise of a civilization. The growth of civilization changes and minimizes the direct influence of local geographical conditions. Many of the occupations of the modern man have no relation to the geographical environments. Thus, as the social heritage grows, the immediate geographical factors would assume a less determinant role in the interpretation of society. Man has assumed great control over natural factors so that the overall influence of geographical forces is no longer overpowering. The fact, however, remains that geography is a contributing, if not a determining, factor of human progress, and therefore, the relationship between sociology and geography is intimate. Now, we will discuss the relationship of sociology and biology. Sociology is study of society including human evolution, their behavior and their development and so on. According to N.G. Muller, our ideas of what sort of progress is possible or desirable for man must depend in part at least upon our views of his nature, his manner of organization, the method by which changes have occurred and can occur in him and the relation which he bears with the rest of nature. It also studies genetics and sexual behavior, which can be considered as one of the most important branches of biology. Biology is the science of man's biological development, sexual, anatomical and personal peculiarities. It tells us how man's body and mind evolved, how his system reacts to the outside world and what part his physical constitution plays in the overall build-up of his whole being. As biology is related with the biological development of living organism, the biological development in human being also come under this. Human behavior is influenced or affected by heredity or gene, which is studied in biology. Sociology also studies human behavior. Likewise, one that major concern of sociology is marriage that is based on biology. Herbert Spencer explained his theory of the evolution of society on the principle of natural evolution. So, nature and society are very close to each other. Now, we will discuss about the difference between sociology and biology. Sociology is a general science and biology is a pure science. Sociology studies humans as social beings, whereas biology studies humans as biological beings. Sociology studies human society and its development in sociological perspective, and biology studies human beings and other living organisms as well as the living organism as well as their development in biological perspective. Sociology analyzes the social process of human being and biology analyzes the biological process of human being and other living organisms. Sociology is a young science as it came into existence later, which does not have even 200 years history, and biology is an old science which has a long history. In spite of the differences, sociology on its part inspires biology to research or search knowledge in new directions. For example, the need to limit the population has led to search for the means of birth control. However, biological principles should not be comprehensively applied to sociology. In this regard, Ginsburg writes, biological factors are clearly of importance to the students of society since the unit of society is a living organism. Great confusion has, however, resulted from the two facial applications of biological categories to social facts, and in particular a tendency to overemphasize the purely racial factor in social evolution or change. In this chapter, we have tried to understand the relationship of sociology with other social sciences. Sociology, however, is an overarching social science because sociologists are for the most part interested in the same thing that other social scientists are interested in. They are, however, not as limited in their scope or focus as are the other social sciences.